welcome to another unboxing video. This one is for the Rustic Rose Colour Trend, which is the final Tonic Craft Perfect Nuvo colour trend for 2020. It's the third one of this year and it is the last one that's coming out. It is a beautiful selection of kind of goldy tones, pinky, and then like earthy, coppery tones and gorgeous green tones as well. So it's a real mixture of the kind of colours you'd see in the garden, really. Obviously that's why it's called Rustic Rose. And you might have already seen some of the bits and pieces that I'll show you. One of the Nuvo drops and some of the confettis and glitters and maybe a few of the papers. You might have seen that already in my Tonic Craft Kit unboxing video. I think it was Kit 36, I think it was. But I've got quite a lot of the colour trend to show you. I am missing both the embossing powders, which are called Pearlized Pistachio, which is a gorgeous minty green colour, and also Pearl Luster. But again, if you had that craft kit, you had a tiny little tester pot of the Pearl Luster, so you will have seen that before. I'm also missing the ink pad set, which has got a gorgeous like soft baby pink, a peachy colour, and like a light brown kind of tone. And I'm also missing the glitter marker, which is called Peppermint Cream, so it's a green glitter marker. But I've got everything else to show you, so I still wanted to do this video even though I'm missing a few of the bits and pieces. And I've got 9 cards to show you as well, and there will definitely for this colour trend be a sped up video showing you 3 of the cards, and I'll tell you which 3 cards they are when I show you the samples as well. I don't often get a chance to do a sped up video with the colour trends anymore, but I definitely have done one for this colour trend. So first things first, what should I show you? Let's do the drops. I'm really loving that the colour trends from this year have got such a variety of Nuvo drops in them, because there's been a few different types of drop that were released last year. We now have them incorporated into the colour trends, which is really lovely. So we have got an original sort of metallic finish Nuvo drop, which is the one that was in the Tonic Craft Kit, and this is called Heritage Rose. And if you have any of the Rose Platinum mirror card that Tonic do, or I think it's called Burnished Rose satin mirror card that Tonic do, this is the absolute perfect colour to go with that cardstock. If you put them on top of it, it almost looks like you've indented the card or embossed the card to make it have like a little dome in it. It's a really perfect colour to go with that cardstock. So that is the first one. Then the second one is a jewel drop, which I think, there must be, maybe this is probably like the 12th jewel drop perhaps. I think the original release was 8 of them, and then there has been the odd one in the colour trends from the last couple of years. I can't remember exactly how many there have been, but this is a different pink tone to the previous ones that have been out as well. This is much more of like a soft baby pink, which is really pretty. And the jewel drops are translucent. I didn't explain what a Nuvo drop was, I was just presuming you already knew. But basically Nuvo drops are just like kind of like a glue that you can squeeze out and create little embellishments that are little domes, and they sort of self-level into the perfect little dome after you've squeezed them out. And obviously you can make them into whatever size you want to, which is really lovely. And so the jewel drop is exactly the same, but it is translucent, so you can put it over the top of something and you'll still be able to see through it. Or if you have like die cut flowers that you've made, you could put small drops of these on a few different places on some of the petals, and it kind of looks like a water droplet is on there, because it gives that kind of tinted water kind of a look, because it's like a clear kind of a drop. So that is the jewel drop, which is called Peach Sorbet, which is a really lovely colour. It is like a soft peachy kind of tone. Really pretty. Then, oh, and you can tell the drops apart. The jewel drops always have a white label as well, so if you've got them all on your shelf you can easily distinguish between them. The normal Nuvo drops, the glitter ones, the gloss ones, all have like a clear label, and then the jewel drops have a white label on them. Then even more different in bottle shape, these are the stone drops. I think you get exactly the same amount. Yeah, you do. You get 30 mils in them as well. But this is a slightly different shaped bottle. The bottom of it is slightly bigger and they're kind of a tapered shape with the same lid on though. So this is the gorgeous stone drop. Again, stone drops, I think there was an original release of 8 of them, and I think we've had one in each of the colour trends this year, so there must be at least 11 of them now, 11 different colours. But really gorgeous colour, this one. I've really liked using this one actually. And there's 2 different types of stone drops. I did a video on them when they were launched, and there are pearlescent stone drops and there are like a gloss stone drop. So it's kind of like they've added a gritty substance to a normal Nuvo drop, but some of them have got a pearlescent Nuvo drop in them and some of them have got a gloss Nuvo drop in them, if that makes any sense. And this one is more of a pearlescent finish. So I think there were, I can't actually remember now how many of each there were in the original release, but this is much more of a pearlescent finish than a gloss finish. I don't know if you can really tell. It's kind of hard to tell, but it is more on the pearlescent side rather than the gloss side. Okay, and then the final drop, oh, did I tell you the name of that? I didn't, did I? Rosebud Pink, which is very apt for the Rustic Rose colour trend. So that is the stone drop, and then you're also getting this one, which again is in another different bottle. This one is a diamond shaped bottle that is taller. This actually has more in it. You actually get 40 mils in this because these are dream drops and they are really versatile for loads of different techniques, not just making the little round drops. I also did a video on these of like different techniques that you can do with dream drops, so if you're interested, go and check that out because there's tons of inspiration of how you can use these dream drops. And they also have this gorgeous hexagonal lid to them as well, with a little hexagon gem on the top rather than just the circle as well, which I think is really lovely. And so you can easily tell all of them apart on your shelf, and they look really beautiful standing next to each other in their colour trend as well. And the name of this one is Enchanted Elixir, and it is a really lovely pale greeny kind of tone. I'm not sure. This is a background that I have that I've done in the sped up video that I'll show you a couple of cards made with another version of it. But if you look at this angle, this was using the dream drops through a stencil, but if you look at this angle, this just looks like a pearl kind of finish, but when you get it in the light, you get that mica reflect. I know it's got confetti on here, but you get the mica reflecting and it has got that gorgeous green mica in it. So that is the kind of finish that you get with a dream drop. And I might as well just drop out a drop of each of these, just so you can see them next to each other as well. And the stone drops, which are in that tapered kind of shaped bottle, have a textured finish to them, so when they're dry it actually does kind of feel sort of like stone, or like a kind of gritty texture because of all those little particles that are in them. The kind of actual Nuvo drop kind of shrinks away from the particles and leaves them on the outside, so you can actually feel them, kind of similar to if you've ever made drops with the glitter accents. The substance that's like makes them into a squeezable thing kind of dries backwards and leaves that glitter kind of exposed, whereas with a glitter drop rather than glitter accents, the glitter drop is actually more like a gloss or jewel drop, where it actually dries in the dome and the glitter is all inside it, but you get that smooth domed finish. There's a lot of information about the Nuvo drops and all the different ones actually. So that is all of the different drops from this colour trend. This is the dream drop over here. This one is the stone drop, which at the moment does look very similar, just like a normal drop. But I think you can see there's that texture inside it. And then we have the pearlescent drop and we have the jewel drop, which is the translucent one. So it looks a little bit milky now, but it will dry clear with a hint of that pinky peachy colour to it as well. So those are the drops. Then, as well as the drops, you will have seen on here a little sneak peek of it. This is the glacier paste that is in this colour trend. So it's a beautiful pink colour. It's a little bit textured on here because I was actually using it with some stone drops as well and pouncing it on with a sponge, but that's the actual colour. And I'm so glad I've got a new camera now because it's actually showing you that hint of pink that it's got in it rather than being like a grey tone. But this is the gorgeous glacier paste. You really can see that beautiful pink colour. That is the actual true colour that my camera's now picking up, which is really nice to know. And this is called Frosted Petal. I don't think I have actually done an up-close video on the glacier pastes. I'll have to add that to my list, but I do always recommend that you use glacier paste in more of a flat application, because although you get a similar finish from applying it flat or thickly, you might as well just apply it flat and then you're saving more of your product, because when you use it thickly through a stencil it dries down and isn't three-dimensional once it's dry. Because it's got like mica flakes in it, they're not really very kind of chunky, and they all sort of lay on top of each other and just flatten down, so you might as well just use it in a thin fashion. And I also love mixing it in with watercolours or like Nuvo Aquaflows and stuff and creating backgrounds with a little bit of shimmer in them, or just watering it down and flicking it on with a paintbrush is really lovely as well, especially if you're doing like any of the three-dimensional boxes that Tonic do. If you're just using a plain coloured cardstock to make it out of, but you want to, I mean, you might add your panels on later, but you can obviously, you can still see parts of just the plain basic box. It's really nice to like flick on some of this, or even just swipe some on with your finger and like pick up the texture of the card or something and just add a little something extra to that main nets of a box before you add your decoration to it as well. So that is the glacier paste. Let me just flick this lid open so that you can actually see the colour as well without the stone drops interfering on that piece of card. I think you can kind of tell. I mean, when it's all in the pot, it looks a darker tone than what you get when you actually use it. It is quite a subtle colour, but I think that's really lovely. And you can also add colour to your glacier paste. So if you wanted that to be a deeper, more vibrant pink tone, just squeeze a little bit of a pink aquaflow out and mix that in, or tap a little bit of the Cherry Bomb shimmer powder into it and mix that in and create a deeper tone. You could probably even turn this into a purple as well and a red. The pink shouldn't interfere with it too much, and you could get those other tones out of it as well. So that is the glacier paste. Then we have also got these two products, which are the Sparkle Spray, which again is quite a new addition to the Nuvo range. I think the original release had 6 colours in it, I think. And then again, I think we've had one in each of the colour trends that have come out this year as well. So this is a gorgeous brighter green than the original green from the release. And it's a really pretty colour. This is actually called Wispy Willow, which is a really good name as well. Really beautiful, rich sort of forest green kind of a colour. And these are absolutely jam-packed with sparkle. I've done a little swatch here. Obviously you would usually spray them, but I just did this before I started filming and I didn't want to make a mess everywhere. So I literally just shook it up, took the uptake tube out of the bottle and swiped it on. And I think that actually gives a pretty cool look because you get the concentration of the glitter in different places. But I just wanted to show you a swatch of it. And you can see how packed full of glitter it is. But as I spread it out, there's like less glittery areas. And what I'd like to do with these as well is get an empty spray bottle and maybe obviously make sure this is fully shaken up and then tip out a tiny bit of it into an empty bottle, top that up with water, and then you have an even more like sheer sort of sparkle with a tiny hint of a green colour, which is really lovely for like sprucing up a patterned paper and making your product go further. If you wanted to use this a lot on some Christmas cards, for example, if you're using a watered down version, it's not going to obliterate any of your patterned paper that you might be sprucing up, and it's also going to go a lot further as well. But the sparkle sprays are really nice and versatile. You can use them on the jelly plate as well if you want to. You can spray them, like spray a bit into your mousse and mix it into it to change the colour of your mousse. You could probably even do it with the glacier paste as well. You probably wouldn't want to mix the green and the pink together, but if you had the white glacier paste or something, you could mix it with a bit of this to get a green kind of tone. They have a ball bearing in them to help you mix up all of that shimmer in there, and when you finish using them, you want to just take a baby wipe or a piece of kitchen roll and just wipe off the nozzle, just so there's not like any particles of glitter that are going to block it up. So that is a good top tip for making sure it doesn't get too blocked or anything. And the sparkle sprays are also great for using in conjunction with your other Nuvo products, not just to try and like change the colour of them, but if you're doing a background, you could have already put down say a lighter green or maybe even a blue colour of an aquaflow with a bit of water. Then you could spray in some of this sparkle spray. You could tap in some of your shimmer powders as well and give a completely different look by mixing your Nuvo products together as well. So I really do love the sparkle sprays. They're really versatile. And you can actually stamp with them too. If you spray them onto your glass cutting mat, you can dab your stamp into it and then stamp with them. You can flick the paint on, and you can also just watercolour with them as well. And again, adding more water will give you a less intense sparkle to them too, which is brilliant. And then this one is the brand new shimmer powder, which is called Jade Fountain. And from that swatch that they've put on there, it looks as though there is just green and yellow in this colour. However, when I used it, there is actually pink and blue and all sorts of colours in there, so I'll show you that in a second, because I think it's really interesting, the colour that's in here. They're exactly the same size pots as all of the other shimmer powders. Does it say on it how much is in there? Oh, 20 mils are in there. Really does last a long time. I think the original shimmer powders, it's more than 2 years ago, I think, since they've come out, and most of mine don't even look like I've used any of them, and I've used quite a lot of them so it really does last a long time because you're really not using much product to create a background with them, which is brilliant. So I'll quickly show you this. Actually, I've got a piece of card here, and let's just take a little bit of water first. I'll put it sideways, so just to get the card a little bit damp, and then I'm going to tap in some of the powder. You should be able to start seeing that burst out, and look at that pink that's come out there. I don't know how well my camera's going to want to focus on this, but hopefully it will do a good job of showing you. But I mean, look at all the different colours that are in there. You've got the green, you've got the blue, you've got the yellow, but there's also these pink bits that are bursting out as well, which is really cool. I really loved how this turned out. I'll show you the card I made with it as well, because I did a really sparse background like this, and I just really loved how it looked. Can you believe that all those colours are in that? It's crazy that they're all in there. But as well as using it like that, you can also add a bit of water onto your table. Not sure if you can see that. Tip some in, and mix that into an actual paint, which you could then use to paint an entire background, to colour a die cut you've cut out of white card, to splatter on, to do just some normal watercolouring with a stamped image. Loads of different things you can do with them. You can even use them through stencils as well to create different effects and get a positive and negative look from using them with a stencil. And you get a completely different look from using them in their kind of dispersed sort of speckled form of just like sprinkling them on. But when you mix it all up together, you get the actual true colour that they are supposed to be, because all those colours that we can see when we've sprayed it are all the colours that make up the actual colour that it's supposed to be. So this is the actual Jade Fountain colour, and then this is all the little bits of colour that make that colour, which I think is just so fascinating, that you wouldn't have thought that there was like a pinky purple, a blue, a green and a yellow in there, making that gorgeous like foresty tealy kind of a colour. Really pretty. So I wanted to show you that. I think I did do a video on shimmer powders on my channel, but I think it might have just been a sped up one. I don't think I was doing talking videos back then. And I think I just showed you a load of different background techniques that you could do with the shimmer powders, and possibly in conjunction with the mica mist as well. I'm not 100% sure. It was quite a while ago. But I think I'll add on my list as well, actually, to do a new video with the shimmer powders as well, because I think a lot of you will find that useful, hopefully. Well, let me know in the comments if you will find that useful. Then the next thing is, let's show the mica mist. So this one is really unusual because it's actually a clear liquid just with the gold mica in, and usually you wouldn't really notice what's happened to this one, because usually you know, we say shake up the bottle because it like disperses the mica back into the solution, so you're not going to like pull a chunk of mica up the uptake tube and block it up and stuff. Well, usually the actual solution that it's in is the same colour as the mica that's in it, or it's at least a colour and then there's a colour of mica in there. But because this one has got a clear solution, it looks really weird when it's been standing for a while, because all of the gold just settles at the bottom and then the top looks white. It's really strange, but it is just exactly the same as all of the others, and it's quite interesting to see how quickly that settles down as well. Like, usually you don't really notice how quickly the mica is settling back to the bottom. So when you're using these mica mists, even if you're only using them for half an hour, make sure to keep shaking them as you're using them, because that mica really does settle to the bottom quicker than I thought it did. And it's really interesting because of that, the fact that it's a clear solution, that you can actually see that happening more. So this one is called the Aspen Gold, and it is beautiful, this one, because it's got that clear suspension or clear liquid and the gold mica. It's a really dainty splatter that it gives, and it gives a really nice like speckled effect to your card, and it's really nice and subtle. So really pretty colour, this one, and obviously again you do want to shake that up to get it to be in a solution, and you can see how beautiful the gold colour then looks. It's quite difficult to show on camera because I'm showing you at this angle, but then the liquid wants to be at the bottom. But really pretty colour. I've really been enjoying this. I've used it on at least 3 of my cards, I think, and again works beautifully in conjunction with the sparkle spray and the shimmer powder. That's how I've used it on one of my cards, and it gives a really gorgeous pearlescent finish to go with the sparkle and then the extra colours and pearlescence that are in the shimmer powder as well. Works really nicely. Again, I just did a quick little sample here to show you the tone of the gold. Really gorgeous gold colour. And that was just me wiping the uptake tube onto the piece of card. But look how beautiful that mica is in there. And I mean, just that, if you do this, if you shake it up, unscrew the lid, and so you've just got the uptake tube, and then you just tap it, you're going to get that fine speckle of like splatter, and I think that just finishes off a card really nicely. Really pretty. Really like that one. That's going to be a go-to colour to use a lot. Then we also have the embellishment mousses. So we have 2 different mousses in this colour trend. We've got the normal embellishment mousse, which is called Mint Tea, and it is a really gorgeous, subtle yellowy green kind of a tone. And then we also have an expanding mousse, which is in natural cotton, so it's kind of like a very light creamy colour. We've already had a white one in the original release, but now we've got a gorgeous light cream colour. So again, this one will be brilliant for tinting with your different colours if you want to too, and it will give a slightly warmer tone to the final colour of the mousse because of its kind of creamy tone to begin with. Again, telling the differences between the mousses, obviously this one says embellishment and this one says expanding, but if they were both in your drawer or on your shelf in a stack, the normal mousse has a white lid and the expanding mousse has a grey lid. So it's really easy to tell the difference between the 2 of them. On the card that I have done, I've actually used both mousses together to accent the luxury embossed cardstock that comes out in this colour trend, but I've also done another card where I have just scraped on some of the expanding mousse and even added in some of the stone drops, confetti and glitter and sequins and stuff into it as well, to give a technique that I've named encrusted expanding mousse, where you just kind of stick a load of beautiful sparkly things into it while it's wet and then you expand it, and it gives this gorgeous kind of encrusted sort of a look. So the difference between the two mousses, which you could probably tell by my explanation before, is that an expanding mousse can do everything that an embellishment mousse can do, but it can also expand. So if you've used it through a stencil or just spread it onto a card, you can actually apply heat to it and get this puffed up effect. If you've used it in a thick fashion, for example through a stencil, you get much more of a raised, evident finish when you've added the heat to it. It really puffs up. But you can also use it in more of a thin application, for example like brayering it on, or just using it as you would a normal embellishment mousse, maybe just like adding it with your finger to the top of an embossing folder or something. But adding the heat onto it afterwards, even in that kind of thin layer, kind of gives like a faux suede look, because it kind of expands a little bit and gives a sort of faux suede-y kind of finish to it. So they're definitely different products, but if you like everything about the mousses, you could go for the expanding mousse, because you can use it in every single way that you can an embellishment mousse, but then you've also got the extra way of using it by adding heat and expanding it, because you can just use this through a stencil and not heat it, and then it would just look like embellishment mousse, but you have got the option of heating it, but you can just let it dry and it would dry like the normal mousse as well. So but these two colours are really beautiful. It's a really soft green tone, this one, really nice. You can see that cool moussey texture, that's why they call it embellishment mousse, because it's got that texture to it. And if your pots ever get a little bit dry, there is a point where they are like past the point of no return, and that's it, you can't really get them back from that. But if they're just starting to crack a little bit, coming away from the side of the pot, or just aren't as creamy as they were when you first opened them, you can spray in some distilled water or deionized water just to like keep them refreshed, because the thing is, they are a water-based product, and the more you open the mousse and like keep it open like this, the more that moisture has got a chance to evaporate out of it, and then because of that it's going to start drying out. And also, the more you use your pot, you're obviously trapping more air inside there, so it's going to sort of dry out a little bit again. So as you get further down your pot, it's better to spray in a couple of sprays of distilled water or deionized water, just to keep them at a nice workable kind of consistency. And again, with the expanding mousse, actually the texture is slightly different. It is a slightly wetter mousse. I mean, you can see that, I suppose the texture does look very similar, but it is a slightly wetter mousse. So because the kind of moisture content of the mousse is what helps it to expand, I think, when it's heated. I think it's that moisture kind of evaporating and leaving the mousse that gives it that kind of puffed up sort of effect that you get when you add heat to it. So this one, again, if it's these ones don't dry out as much actually, but if it did start to, a couple of sprays of deionized or distilled water should keep it going for longer, which is brilliant. I have also heard people say that you should put saran wrap or tin foil over the lid, over the opening, and then put the lid on, but that won't actually make any difference, because you're still trapping the same amount of air inside the pot. If you really did want to try and eliminate the amount of air that was inside the pot, and say you had half your pot left, if you took a piece of tin foil and pressed it in and actually touched the surface of the mousse that's in there and sort of sealed it around it, I think that would help keep it in a more workable kind of form, because it would mean that there was less air getting in contact with the remaining product in the pot, if that makes any sense. But I don't, I've had people asking me before, why don't I put like the saran wrap stuff or cling film or press and seal or foil over the top before I put the lid back on, but you're just trapping in the same amount of air if you do that, so there's not really much point, and it obviously makes the pot look a bit uglier and more annoying to store if you've got like corners of foil or film and stuff coming out the edges. So I find just leaving the foil that comes on it and just cutting a half circle out of it and flipping that up is the best way to kind of keep them. But once they get down to like half the pot, less than half the pot, you could opt for squishing a piece of tin foil in there to try and stop so much air getting to the surface of the mousse. I don't know if that'll help anybody, but I get quite a few questions, so I thought I would just address that as well. So that's almost all of the Nuvo. We've just got the pack of 4 confettis to show. They come in a little pack like this. Obviously you have the 4th one too, but this is the Rustic Rose set of the 4 confettis and glitters and sequins. And what you get in there, again, you will have seen these, if you got that Tonic craft kit, you should have had a random selection of 2 of them. But there are 2 glitters in this set. You've got Shimmering Sunset and Pink Posy. One is a kind of coppery tone, and then this one is a gorgeous pink colour as well. It's kind of on the cooler side of pink, I'd say, but really pretty tones, and that is actually showing up the actual colour that they are as well. So that is the 2 glitters that are in this set. Then there is also sequins, which are called Water Lily Pink, and there are actually 3 sizes in there. Usually the smaller pots only have the 1 size in them, but these do actually have the 3 different sizes in there. So you've got a really tiny, like a 4mm one maybe, and then maybe a 5 and a 6 as well. Well, they might even be 3, 5 and 6mm, but a lovely selection of sizes that are really useful to use in conjunction with each other. And then finally, this one I think is my new favourite confetti. I really love this one. It is called the Luminous Lily Pad Hexagons. I'm not always that keen on the hexagons, but these have that gorgeous iridescent finish, and they're slightly see-through as well, and they're just so pretty. They're the ones that I have sprinkled in this Dream Drop background, but they go absolutely perfectly with that Dream Drop colour, but they're just so beautiful. I usually prefer the circles over like little hexagons and stuff, but just that finish on them with that like iridescent finish is just absolutely beautiful. I've used them on quite a few of the cards that I'll show you as well, but really beautiful. I love this one. If you got this one in your kit, I'm jealous because I've only got 1 pot of them, but really lovely. I'm definitely going to be rebuying that set to get the green ones out of it again. Okay, so that is all of the Nuvo, and I'll come back in a second with the Craft Perfect. Okay, so I've also got all of the Craft Perfect to show you. So there are 2 of these 6x6 pads that are coming in the colour trend, just like the other 2 colour trends from this year. We've had both of these little pads in them. The first one is the 6x6 patterned papers, which are double-sided, and you will have seen all of those in detail in my unboxing video of the Tonic craft kit. I'm pretty sure it was number 35, but some beautiful patterns in there with polka dots. There's like this sort of isometric grid kind of a pattern that kind of look like cubes. You've got a scattering of hearts, you've got a chevron design, those kind of little 4-petaled flowers, little stripes, and then like tiny hexagons in a sort of neutral colour palette, and also another stripe again in sort of more neutral tones. This is more like different widths of stripes in that one. So that's the patterned paper. And then this is the mixed card pack, which is also 6x6 in size. You've got the 4 different types of card, and you get 6 sheets of each of them. And so you get the textured cardstock, the luxury embossed cardstock, the glitter cardstock, and the foiled craft card, which I'll show you in detail in a second. But it's a really nice pad of cardstock to buy, because you can try out all the different designs in one place just for like, I think they're usually £5.99, these pads, so it's a great bargain kind of price to get them at. And if you love doing your paper piecing, cutting out small die cuts, working on smaller projects anyway, or using your specialty cardstock in more of a sparing kind of way, these 6x6 pads are absolutely perfect. So that is the 6x6 pad. And then in that pad, you're getting the first 4 of these that I'll be showing you. So there is the bubblegum pink card. This is one of their classic cards, and you get 10 sheets of this in there. The other ones you only get 5 sheets, but the classic card you always get 10 sheets. And it's this really lovely colour. It's kind of coral, but it's different to the coral coloured card. It's more of a pinky coral. Really pretty though, and it's got the smooth on one side, although it looks like it's got a texture, it is smooth, and then that is the actual linen textured side as well. Then you've also got the gorgeous glitter card, and it's like a very non-sheddy kind of glitter card. If you rub across it, you hardly ever get any particles of glitter off. It also die cuts really nicely. It still feels like glitter though. A lot of the cards that don't shed, they don't feel like glitter anymore. They have that like plastic encapsulated coating over them, but this still actually feels as if you stuck glitter to double-sided tape, which I really like, that kind of aspect of it. And this is called the pink frosting, and you get 5 sheets of this. It's a nice weight GSM as well, but it still die cuts really nicely, even from quite intricate dies as well. So that is the pink frosting glitter card. Then this one, I think this one and the next one are my favourites out of this colour trend. You might recognise this pattern. Previously, when they released 8 different packets of foiled craft card with like 2 with gold on craft, 2 with silver on a grey craft card, 2 with rose gold on a white craft card, and 2 with gold on a black craft card. This is the same pattern as one of the gold on craft cards, but this is the copper kind of foiling. So this is called Rose Gold Blossom. So it's the same pattern as the gold one, but it is a beautiful rose gold colour, and it is stunning, this one. Really lovely. I've really been enjoying this. You can see I've only used this much of one sheet. I've used half of one sheet because I've been using it really sparingly. I don't want to use it all up. So beautiful, beautiful cardstock, this one. Again, you get 5 sheets of this, and this is actually 280 GSM, so it's a really decent weight, this one. And then this one is also my second favourite as well. This is the Sage Roses, and it's their luxury embossed cardstock. This is 230 GSM, and you also get 5 sheets. But I love the pattern on this, and just that minty colour. I really love this minty colour at the moment. Really, really pretty. And this kind of cardstock is great for adding your embellishment mousse to, or if you saw my sped up video or at the end of the craft kit video about this one, you will have seen me try and add gilding flakes to this as well, and you can also do those kind of techniques too, which look really cool. So that is the Sage Roses, and this one and the previous 3 that I just showed you is what's in the 6x6 pad. So you can see why it's a really great way of getting a mixture of different cardstocks to try. You've got a luxury embossed, you've got a foiled craft card, you've got a glitter card, and you've also got the plain classic textured card as well. And then finally, I haven't got this in a packet, but this is the Peach Parfait Speciality Embossed Cotton Paper, and it's that gorgeous heart design. I've only got this one sheet that came in the craft kit to show you, but really lovely. It's got that pearlescent finish and that really nice, looks very deep hearts, but they're not actually that deep. They're probably only 1 millimetre embossed into there, but the way the light bounces off that pearlescent finish, it looks like a really nice deep emboss. And you can do all sorts of cool techniques with this. You can even use it on the opposite side, scrape your expanding mousse through it, making sure that not too much is on the flat surface, but lots of it is gathering in the little heart, and then you can heat it with your heat gun, and then you get puffed up hearts, which I think looks really cool. I love doing that technique, and this works really great for it. So that is the last of the Craft Perfect, and then I've got all my samples to show you. So I'll show you these 3 first. these are the 3 that are in my sped up video. So there will be a sped up video showing you exactly how I made these ones, and these 2 are using this cool background with the Dream Drops through a stencil with those, what are they called? Luminous lily pad hexagons on top. I do really love that combination. It's so beautiful. And that's what I used for these 2 cards in the background. I did one piece just like that, but then cut it in half and created 2 cards out of it where you've just got a portion of that gorgeous background. Then I used that gorgeous Sage Rose cardstock behind these little hearts. These hearts and the sentiment there are all from the Easel card creator die set. I've tried to keep all the dies out here so I can actually tell you what they're called. They're all from the Heart 3-tiered Easel card die set. Really lovely die set, this one. Really, really versatile. You don't have to use it for easel cards at all of the little elements in it are beautiful. I'll try and link as much of the stuff below the video as I can, but there's going to be quite a lot with all the different products from the Colour Trend, as well as trying to link the die sets to you. So if you go over to my blog, there'll be a link to the blog post relatively close to the top of the description below the video. That will have complete full links, and there'll be little pictures so that it's easier for you to find the die set I was talking about, or the product as well. I just thought I'd mention that now. So that's what I used to do these 2, and then I also added extra Dream Drops as embellishments on there too, so they match perfectly with the background, and they look like perfect little pearls. I love that iridescent finish of a Dream Drop. I definitely think Dream Drops are my favourite out of all the Nuvo drops. So I did those 2, and then this one in the same sped up video, and this was the one I was saying, my encrusted expanding mousse kind of idea, where I've actually patted on some stone drops and then also scraped on some of the expanding mousse, sprinkled in one of the glitters, poked in some of the sequins whilst it was all still wet. Then I heated it, and then I've added a few extra Nuvo drops, that gorgeous Heritage Rose, and then I've layered up 3 butterflies and added a sentiment across it just to finish that off. And I think that looks really nice. And the butterfly and the sentiment are from the Enjoy 3-tiered Easel card die set, which is basically the circle version of the heart one. Again, there's tons of beautiful little pieces in here for creating cards with as well. So those will be a sped up video that should be up probably the day after this one. Then I've got this card to show you, really simple this one. This is just using that Sage Rose background paper, but you can see here slight differences in colour because I actually added on some of the normal mousse and some of the expanding mousse, just using it like it was a normal mousse, just to add some variation in that green tone. So it looks like there's kind of 3 different tones on that backing piece of paper. And I've also added a piece of card here that was actually some leftover shimmer powder and sparkle spray and mica mist mix from one of the other cards that I created, and I just used the rest of it up and painted it onto a strip of white card, and then I just tore along the edges when it was dry to give that extra border. And you can see how perfectly the green colours go with the green cardstock from the Colour Trend as well. And I also splattered on some of that mixture in areas to give a cool look as well. Then I've used that gorgeous rose gold foiled craft card, and the sentiment is one of these new ones. They're little tiny sentiments, well, not that tiny, but you know what I mean, separate standalone die set of a sentiment basically. And this one is the Simply Smile sentiment die set. I didn't get the opportunity to use these for samples for the show, so I've been trying to squeeze them into some of my cards because I really love the style of them. And I actually just cut the word smile out of this one and then pieced the interiors of the letters back in using that foiled craft card. Then I also did this one. So this one is kind of subtle, but the background, this was white card here, but I sprayed it with the mica mist, and you can see that gorgeous speckled effect that it gives. I think it's so lovely. That was maybe 4 mists from maybe like 20 centimetres above the card, and it gave that gorgeous fine speckled look with some larger droplets, but mostly that fine look. And then I used a stencil, and I actually used a piece of cut and dry foam, and I stenciled through with some stone drops and some of the glacier paste as well. And I think I even used some of the Heritage Rose Nuvo drops and stenciled through with that too, so it gives like a really grungy, distressed kind of a background, which I think looks really nice. And then again, I've used one of those sentiments on there. This is the Simply Love sentiment die set, and then I've just used the interior pieces that fell away from some of the smaller flowers to create a little cascade down the card as well, with a few of the jewel drops on there too. So I really love how that one turned out. Then I also did this one, which is a little Best Wishes one. The Best Wishes is from one of the bracelet die sets. This is the Best Wishes Beautiful Bracelet die set. I just used all the interior circle dies to build up the element, using some of the different Craft Perfect papers, the Luxury Embossed one, the glitter as well. Then for the background, I used the Beautiful Blossom embossing folder from Tonic. I just embossed that with some white card, and then I used both of the mousses, again just applying it with my fingers to give a kind of patchy sort of effect all over the background, so the cream expanding mousse and the green normal mousse. Then I came in on the flower areas and used my finger to apply some glacier paste. So I added the glacier paste just where the flowers are, and then I tapped on some of the green dream drops just where the leaves are as well. And then I splattered some of the mousses in the background too, and then finished it off with a few of the jewel drops. And I've also matted it with a piece of the glitter card as well. Obviously I gutted out the centre of the glitter card. I didn't want to waste all of that behind the background. But I thought that was quite a nice way of pulling loads of bits together. So you've got the mousses, the dream drops, the jewel drops, and the glacier paste on there. Then I also did this one. This is where I've used that background with the shimmer powder, and you can see how there's those beautiful pink tones in there that just came out, and obviously that's why they've put it in with this colour trend, because it's got the pink and the greeny tones, but I just really loved how it turned out. Then this card is kind of a Christmas card, because again I used one of those small sentiments. I used the Simply Joy sentiment, and although it's got flowers on Joy, you know, it's usually used at Christmas time, and this piece is a leftover from my favourite card that I made, which will probably be the last one that I show you, but I just used this leftover sort of waste piece to decorate the bottom of that, and also the circle around there too, and I finished it off with a few of the stone drops. So you can see that is the texture that you get on a stone drop. Really gorgeous texture. I really love how the stone drops look. It's really different to any of the other ones that you can play with. Then I did this one, which was making one of my squishy, messy backgrounds using glacier paste, stone drops, jewel drops, and the metallic Heritage Rose drops as well onto the textured Craft Perfect card, and squishing them two pieces together to give a cool little like background piece to go in the channel of this card. I've also used just the Heritage Rose Nuvo drops there, some of the glitter with a 3mm red liner tape, some of the foiled craft card, and then also I used the Mica mist to create that initial sort of speckled gold background. Really pretty. I love how that Mica mist just catches the light as well. And you can see how well that foiled craft card die cuts. Oh yeah, this sentiment is one of the, I think they were called duo sentiments, where you had the same word in different orientations. So you had a horizontal version and a vertical version as well. So that's that one, and then the final one is my favourite one, which is this one. So I went for all greeny tones on this one. The initial background was done with a mixture of shimmer powder, sparkle spray and mica mist. Like an all over background, just loads of the different products mixed together. So you can see that really gold area just there, really intense green area here, and then the shimmer powder kind of just pulled everything together with just adding extra colour into the background. And then I took that square and I die cut the brand new, this one is called Decorative Snowflake, and I used the gorgeous snowflake piece and the outside die that cuts slightly bigger than the snowflake, and used them inside each other to be able to leave the white space around the design. And then that's that little skinny area that I used on that previous card. And then I also used one of the sentiments from the Leaping Deer die set as well. I used that Peace on Earth one in the centre of this. Again, that skinny little circle that's on the other card came out of that little area there. I then backed the word Earth with that green sage, or sage green roses cardstock. And then around the edge of this, I've added it on a slightly bigger white mat. And then I used Dream Drops, but sprinkled in some of those beautiful luminous lily pad hexagons. And I think it just gives a really different frosty kind of a look to this beautiful Christmas card. So that's definitely my favourite out of all the ones that I've made. That one and these ones are my favourite. I really love that green colour at the moment. It's really pretty. So I hope you enjoyed this unboxing of the Nuvo Craft Perfect Tonic colour trend. This is the Rustic Rose Colour Trend, which should hopefully be available as I'm posting this video. I think this is a really beautiful colour trend that can be used for Christmas or for sympathy cards, for a modern kind of Christmas card, for congratulations, just a for you card, loads of different occasions that you can use this gorgeous colour scheme for. And you can obviously do all sorts of different styles of cards, shapes and sizes and everything as well. So I hope you enjoyed this unboxing video. I'm not sure if I added in that much helpful information about Nuvo products, but I feel like I've been saying different things a lot recently, so I thought you might be fed up with it by now. But I hope you enjoyed the inspiration as well, and maybe it gave you some ideas that you might want to try out too. So thank you so much for watching, and I will see you again in the next video. Bye!